We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Retro Pop Planet, and welcome to a very boring industrial office park right outside of Dulles Airport. We are in Herndon, Virginia today, and that building right there behind me with the tree, that is the headquarters for Bob Ross Inc. Now, the only reason I knew about this place is because I was in my local arts and crafts store picking up some supplies for a project that I was working on, and I came across something Bob Ross related. I flipped it over, and lo and behold, the address was not too far from my house, and I was kind of shocked. And then it led me down the entire Bob Ross rabbit hole. I watched the Netflix documentary, which I don't really have an opinion on. It was very one-sided, and the other side has come out putting out their opinion on what happened. I am a fan of Bob Ross. I grew up watching Bob Ross in the 1980s as a budding artist myself. It was so awesome to be able to watch someone on cable access television. I believe it was on PBS when I lived in Texas. Sorry, there's an airplane. And I watched it all the time. I was fascinated by Bob Ross and the Joy of Painting and all those different shows that were on PBS back in the day. But this is the location, and according to the documentary, this is probably where about 90% of all of those production screen-used Bob Ross paintings are held. They're in this warehouse right behind me. Completely amazing. Ross's instructional television show, The Joy of Painting, ran on PBS for 31 seasons, from 1983 to 1994, each containing 13 episodes, for which Ross would make 3 versions of the same painting, one as an initial reference, one that he painted on TV, and a last, more painstaking version to be included in his books. Now, if you look up Bob Ross Inc. on the internet, it has like a 1.2 or 1.5 star rating, and that's entirely due to the documentary. They got hosed. They got hosed in media, they got hosed in social media. As you can tell, there is zero sign behind me. There's no signage whatsoever in this entire office park. Crazy to think that amongst this strip mall of different offices that there is nothing denoting that this is Bob Ross Inc. The New York Times ran a pretty interesting video expose several years ago that you can watch here on YouTube. They attempt to solve the riddle of what happened to every Bob Ross painting. This was prior to the Netflix documentary. I didn't have a plan for this video. I went out there on a Sunday, mainly because the weather finally turned nice and I was up for a bit of adventure. I've always admired the wet on wet oil technique perfected by Ross, but certainly have never really had a desire to try this kind of painting for myself. I'm more of a watercolor and acrylic guy. And as a kid, I was fascinated by the speed and precision, at least of the TV show, and mesmerized by his melodic cadence. PBS also happened to be the only channel that my great aunt could get on her ancient tube television, so it was my lifeline on long summer days. Well, after I cut the intro, I saw that the building actually looked like it was empty, and I got ballsy enough to walk over and have a look inside, and I'll insert this footage right here. So then I went to the Dun & Bradstreet entry online, and it looked like they've moved. So I wonder if that is actually a result of the documentary. I know they got a lot of negative press. They disputed the claims made in the Netflix documentary. They sought litigation, I believe, against multiple people, including Netflix, for producing it without their permission. And they moved about 2 miles away from here, so we're gonna go see where they moved to.
Let's decide. Maybe there's a happy tree Evergreen tree. He lives right there.
Okay, I found it, and it was not easy. And again, the building is unlisted, and there's not a sign on the door. Well, there is one small sign, and I'm gonna sneak over there. I don't want to be super obvious because this is already an awkward video as it is, but you're not going to be able to find this just kind of looking around. I had to drive up and down the business park in order to even find the location. It's pretty wild. That building right there, and see that little sign in the window that says Bob Ross Inc. I never intended for this video to get weird. I was just hoping to spot one Bob Ross painting. You see, all the exhibits that were nearby sold out super fast. And the one painting in the Smithsonian's permanent collection, the one near me, it's called Blue Ridge Falls from season 30, episode 13, and it's not currently on display. I guess I'll have to get out to Muncie, Indiana to visit the original production studio for the joy of painting. In this video here, this turned into a very weird adventure, and I didn't really know where this was gonna lead, and it definitely didn't think I was gonna be led on a quest of different multiple locations. And as you'll notice in the video, I do blur out the address to respect the company's privacy. I'm sure it hurt business quite a bit through that documentary, so I don't want to put them through any more stress or duress. And Bob Ross is on YouTube. You can actually binge every entire episode of his award-winning series, so you can watch the complete series online. If you like this video, please give it a like and leave me a comment. Let me know if you're a Bob Ross fan and what you thought of the documentary. Please feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
He is the most precious little thing. You have to force him to eat, see? We call him Peapod the Pocket Squirrel.